Hello and welcome to the channel. My name's Michael and today I wanted to jump on and talk to you about a little bit of a challenge that I've just done for myself, a writing challenge, and yeah, just give you a couple of details on it. So basically, I had some time off work and I decided to kind of challenge myself and put myself into the brain of a full-time author. So I wanted to use this time off to just write as many ways as I could, and just to act like I would if I was getting paid to just write full-time and not have a day job and do all those things. So I've done this for 3 days, and I set myself a little bit of a challenge in my head of like, I want to try and write at least 5,000 words in these 3 days. I don't know where I got that number from. I had seen that some authors, I know Stephen King has got like a thing where he says I'll write 15 manuscript pages or something, which seems quite formidable of a writing task. And I know as well Ryan Cahill, the author of the Band and the Broken series, he aims to write 2,000 words a day. So I thought 5,000 words would be a good target. So I sat down and I started writing, and I just want to go through some of the things that I learned, just some of the benefits I got from it, why it's better to kind of just give yourself some time to just really write and focus on your writing, and the kind of differences between being able to sit down all day and write versus just sneaking in an hour here and there during a normal day. So I managed to do 6,519 words across the 3 days, which was just more writing than I've ever done in such a short period of time in my life. And I've been writing for a very long time, so I was super pleased with the word count. I was averaging it was coming in at about 2,200 a day. That was pretty steady. I don't know whether I was just hitting a writing block, whether I was running out of time, but it was just brilliant to get that time. I was writing in 2 blocks. I was getting up in the morning, I was walking my pooch, and then I was going for a couple of hours. I was writing for about 2-3 hours. Then I would go to the gym, I would have my lunch, and then once I'd had my lunch, I'd do another 2-3 hours of writing, and then I'd call it a day, and I'd do a little bit of editing as I went. So yeah, I was doing about 6 hours worth of writing a day. Some of it was really good, some of it was a bit messy. On the last day, I was having to jump between scenes because I'd written a lot. And so this is kind of probably the first thing I would touch on is if you were to do something like this, or if you want to get the most out of your writing time, then I would say go in with a bit of a plan. So I know some writers are like structural, and like George R. Martin calls them architects and gardeners. One is being really structured and having a plan, and the other one is like just seeing where the story takes you, where the characters want to go, and just going with the flow. I'm probably somewhere in the middle. I've never done like a full story writing plan where I know which is going in every chapter, but certainly this time, and having this amount of time to sit down and write, I noticed that my kind of writing and the pace I was writing at was outstripping how the ideas were forming. I was overtaking myself almost, so I was getting to the end of scenes, and then I was having to sit and go, now what happens next? Where do these characters go from here? And it wasn't always instant, and so I was wasting a lot of time just kind of flowing through it in my head. And so what I ended up doing on the last day, where as I said, at this point I'd written probably 5,000 words, is I was having to like go, okay, I've hit the end of this scene, I don't know what comes immediately after. What else can I write? What's already there in my brain? And so I was jumping to like a scene maybe further down the track. And so one of the things I'd learned is I wish I'd just been a little bit more prepared. So if you ever do get this amount of time to do some writing, and if you're a writer, I would suggest doing it. I think it's a great way to just make real progress on your book and just really kind of enjoy your craft. It's just blot out some time in your diary to kind of dedicate a day or two to just writing. But if you do it, do a little plan. Just have an idea of what's going to happen because you will soon start ticking through that list. One of the other things that I found was really great, even though there was times where I would kind of hit the end of where I was up to in terms of my ideas, momentum is such a powerful tool when you're writing. For me, I write in little dribs and drabs, so I'll write in the morning when I first wake up and get up pretty early. Maybe write for an hour before I start work, but the amount of times where I've been really in a flow and then I've had to go somewhere, I've had to start work, it was time to go to the gym, it was time to have tea, it was bedtime, whatever. The amount of times where I've just hit that block and went, I could just stay here. And then when I've sat back down, I've maybe not been in that same mood. So to have all that time ahead of me, and even when I did have to stop, say it was coming up to lunchtime or I was going to the gym or something, to know that I was being able to come back, sit down and just pick up where I left off and rebuild that momentum felt amazing. And so that is a hugely powerful tool to make real progress on your book. And some of the stuff that I was coming out with when I was on those roles, where I was kind of surprising myself and be like, where did that come from? So yeah, writing with that momentum and writing in a real flow, huge benefit. I think another benefit of writing throughout the whole day was knowing where like my hotspots are. So I realised I was doing 2 long sessions of a morning, 2 long sessions, one of a morning, one of an evening. That first session was definitely my most productive one. I'm definitely more of like an early morning person anyway, but I did notice that very early on, like the earlier I was writing the better. I'll get 70% of the writing done in the morning session and then 30 in the afternoon. That wasn't always the case. I think there was one day where I wrote more in the afternoon, but I think that was because even on that day, the ideas had all been dreamed up and put in place, and the kind of the nitty gritty part of what I wanted to write was ticked off in the morning, so the afternoon could shine. So just understanding when you're at your most creative, when you're at your most kind of your ability is there to do it, is another benefit of doing this. And then there'll be days where I won't have all that time to write, but I know when the sweet spot is, and I can rearrange my days to ensure that I have that small window to sit down and really dig into it. And then one of the kind of last things I want to reflect on is just the progress I was able to make in just that short time. So I've been doing a writing challenge. The aim is to write every day for 100 days and see how much progress I can make on the sequel to my novel, The Lost Company. And I was kind of loitering at around 17,000 words after 4 weeks. Pretty good progress, the most I'd written in that period of time in a long time. But then to just check in a week later and have that jump up by almost 8,000 words because of just those 3 days that I devoted to it. I'd done 2.5 weeks worth of progress in a week, in less than a week, which it would just really give me that boost now, and I've really got the hunger to be like, I want to go on and finish this book now. So if you're a writer, and if you're following this channel, you probably are, because I mostly talk about indie publishing, I would definitely suggest, if you've got the holidays in work, or if you've got a weekend free or anything, to just really blot that out and just devote the whole thing to writing just once. So it doesn't have to be all the time. And just really kind of find out a little bit something about yourself, about what you're writing, about your writing techniques, what works for you. I've kind of learned so much coming out of just this short window of time. I know where the kind of sweet spot is for me writing. I know that if I'm ever going to kind of really do a long writing session to have a bit of a plan in place. And I've just got this renewed vigour now to kind of finish the book and push on. So yeah, it's been a really rewarding experience. I suggest you go and try it yourself. And that's about it. So hopefully this was interesting and helpful. It's been good to jump on and talk a little bit about reading and writing and publishing a bit after a little break. But yeah, thanks for stopping by, and I'll catch you next time.